Hi babes, how are you doing? I hope you are having an amazing day. I'm back with a new story. But before we get into today's story, I want to ask you a question. What is your deal breaker? What is the worst thing your partner can do to you that will make you go like, I'm done. I'm never going back. The relationship is done. Let me know down below. I know with some people, if you lie to them, they are done. But then I also know some people stay even when they are cheated on. And obviously, you have your own reasons. I'm not judging anyone. Let me know down below what your deal breaker is. And if you are new to my channel, I'm Vera, but you can call me V. And I share amazing stories. And if this is something you love, please subscribe and like this video. And don't forget to turn on the notifications so that when I post, you'll be notified immediately. Today's shout out goes to Respond Jesse 4146 for being the first person to comment on my last video. Thank you so much for the support, babe. I love you. This is a follower story, and I'll let you know the advice I give here at the end of the story. And now, without further delay, let's get right into it. I started a new church a few years ago, and it was in this church that I met this guy we will call Obed. Obed was a guy given to me to transition me into the church. He used to call me to check up on me, to make sure I was coming to the church. Basically, it was even because of him that I stayed in that church. This guy was fine. He was very handsome. And I won't lie, from the very beginning, I was feeling him. I loved the way he was committed to the church, the way he prayed with me, like the kind of person he was. He was a very devoted Christian. A few months after I joined the church, we became very close. And like I said before, I was feeling this guy. Now, one day after church, we were walking home when he asked me to be his girlfriend, and I said yes. We started dating openly. I introduced him to my parents after a few months, and he did the same thing. Everyone in the church knew we were together. Now, in the same church, I had two friends. Let's call them Pat and Sarah. Now, mind you, Pat and Sarah were friends with Obed before I joined. We became like sisters. We used to do everything together. Among the two of them, Sarah was closer to Obed than Pat. Now, one day, we had a program at another church. And so Pat, Sarah and I decided to go to Obed's house to wait for him. Now, Obed had this little brother. He's around 10 years old. Since I was dating Obed, when we got to his house, I left him in the living room and I went to his room. He was not ready. As I was coming out of his room, I saw his little brother. He was standing in the hallway, looking at my two friends. He also goes to the same church, by the way, and so he knows them. But he was looking at Pat. He was just standing there looking at Pat. I was like, what's up? Now, mind you, I'm very close to his little brother. Whenever I go over to Obed's house, we play games. Like, I love him. We are very, very close. So he was just staring at Pat. And I was like, what's up? Why are you looking at her like that? And then he was like, he saw her in their house at night. And then immediately the alarm bell started going off. I was like, what do you mean? Now, Obed lives at the back of the house. And so he has a door connecting to the outside of the house and a door connecting to the inside. And so he can leave the house without anyone in the house knowing. I hope you get it. And so his little brother told me that he was sent outside to take something by his mom. When he went out, he saw Pat leaving Obed's room in the middle of the night. I was like, are you sure, my friend? He was like, yes. He saw my friend leaving Obed's room in the middle of the night. Now, like I said before, Sarah was closer to Obed. So, what will Pat be doing in Obed's room in the night? I didn't confront them. The next day, I went to see Obed. When he went to use the washroom, I took his phone. I went through his phone. I checked everything. I didn't see anything suspicious. He was chatting with Pat, but it was like normal church member texting. Like, hi, how are you doing? Are you coming to church? You were not in church today. Are you okay? Like normal, they were not even that close. Like normal texts. I didn't see anything wrong with their messages. So why would Pat go and see Obed? Like, what was going on? I still didn't confront Obed. One night we went to church and I took Pat's phone. I told her I needed the phone to, I don't know what I told her, to check for something. And she gave me a password and I opened her phone. I went through her phone and I still didn't see anything. There was nothing unusual. I was about to give her phone back to her when a TikTok notification popped up. That was when I was like, TikTok, her DMs. I went to her DMs and the two of them have been sleeping together for months. For months, almost a year. And they were not just cheating. Like, they had this connection. Like, they were telling themselves, I love you, I love you, I love you. And there was even a point when Obed was telling her that he was confused. He didn't know who he loved more, me or her. Like, I was heartbroken because I was very, very close to Pat. I told her everything about my relationship. She knew what was going on. and she betrayed me like this. I confronted her in the church that same day. She was like, oh, I'm sorry. It was not planned. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to hurt you. We almost fought. It was Sarah who told me to calm down. I went to Obed's house and I confronted him. He was also like, I'm sorry. It was not planned. It is you I love. I was very angry, and so I broke things off with him. Now, can you believe that when I got home, he called me that night. I didn't pick. He called me the next day. I didn't pick. I think the next day. And then he didn't call me again. I was like, see this boy, like, you've hurt me. Won't you call? At least keep calling me and let me say, oh no, I'll not talk to you. But he stopped calling, and I couldn't go to church because of what happened. And so I didn't go to church for like 3 weeks. When I went the 4th week, and mind you, Obed had stopped calling me. Like, he was not calling me. I was like, what is going on? You've hurt me like this, and you are not calling me. And I forgot. I left some things out. I told you that we were seriously dating. My parents knew him. His parents knew me. And at the point that this happened, we had dated for 2 years. We were even talking about getting married. He was even preparing to come with his family, to see my family, to take the list. It was that serious. And he was not calling me to say sorry, nothing. I went back to church and I realized something was off. I immediately knew that those two people, Pat and Obed, were still seeing each other. When Obed saw me after church, he tried to approach me. I was like, no, go back. You've hurt me. You cannot even call me. You called me only for 2 days, and you didn't call me again. And he was like, oh no, I didn't call you because I wanted to give you space. I've hurt you, and I wanted to give you space. I was like, what do you mean? If you really love me and you've hurt me, what is about space? It was like, oh, I'm sorry. If you want me to call, I'll be calling. He said you called me several times and I didn't pick. He thought I needed space. Like, what do you mean? But I could see that something more was going on. I spoke to Sarah, and Sarah told me that she was also suspecting that something more was going on. And at that point, I had broken things off with him. But I still loved him, and I was weak. I was hoping he would still fight for me, and maybe I might even forgive him. But he was not even putting in the work. It was like he had just given up on the relationship. And like I said, I was still suspecting that he was still with Pat. A month after our breakup, they started standing close, like talking close, like they didn't care. They didn't even care I was there. And then 2 months later, they started dating openly. I was shocked. They were just dating out in the open. Everyone knew they were boyfriend, girlfriend. I couldn't take it anymore, and so I wasn't going to church like that. I remember there was a time I called Obed, asking him like, what is going on? How can you do this to me? And he was like, oh, you broke up with me. You made your choice. And I still had feelings for her. She was there for me. This guy was gaslighting me, putting everything on my head as if it was my fault. And then a few months down the line, I heard that Obed had gone to see a family to ask for the list. They were getting married. I felt like I was going crazy. I stopped the church altogether. Sarah was there for me every step of the way. I couldn't trust anyone. Like, I couldn't trust anyone. And for months, I didn't date. I really loved this guy. I really thought he was the one. I saw myself going long term with him, and he hurts me. And so I was just like, I'm done. For months, I didn't date anyone. And then I met another guy. Let's call him Fred. Because of what I went through, Fred was really interested in me. Like, he checked all my points. It was genuine. He was giving me attention. He told me he liked me. He told me he wanted to date me. But I was like, no, I'm not ready. Like, please go away. But this guy didn't give up on me. He kept coming until I finally decided to give him a chance. Now, mind you, I've already told him about my past, what my ex and my friend did to me. And he was like, I will not hurt you. And this guy was genuine. He was not a Christian. And even me at that point, I was not trusting the Christian guys anymore. But this guy seemed genuine, and he was there for me. From the very beginning of our relationship, because of what I went through, I gave him a lot of issues. Like, if I saw him hiding or texting, like if I saw him texting secretly or something, immediately the alarm bells would go off, and I'll be like, who are you texting? Like, I had a lot of trust issues, but he was patient with me, and he was there for me every step of the way. Now, before I forget, I met Fred through Sarah. At that point, Sarah had even gotten married and even had a baby. So Fred was a friend of Sarah's husband. He told me he was a good guy, and he really treated me well. Now, in my friend group, there's this other girl we will call Anne. Anne is the kind of friend I would say was promiscuous. Like, those girls who dated a lot of men. Like, you see, she dressed like sexy, had different men, had sugar daddies, that's that kind of friend. But we were cool. I liked her. We were very cool. Because Sarah is my friend, I had introduced her to my other friends. So she knew almost everyone I knew. She knew Anne and my other friends. I had a birthday party and I decided to celebrate on the beach. And so Fred came, Anne came, all my other friends were there. Now, because of what I went through, I still had trust issues. I didn't really trust Fred around my friends, apart from Sarah. I trusted Sarah. But my other friends, I was still having trust issues. When we got to the beach, Anne didn't come early. I think she came in the evening. When she came, I saw her looking afraid. And because of what I had gone through, the alarm bell started going off in my head. She just kept staring at him. I almost asked her that, what is going on? Like, why are you staring at my man like that? But I didn't say anything. We all had fun. Like, everything was great. I tried to forget the way Anne was looking at my man, but I couldn't. But I told myself I was overreacting. I was overthinking because of what I went through. And I tried as much as possible to just take it out of my head. Now, I was close to Anne, but not like close, not like the way I was close to Sarah. And after Sarah got married, she went to live in another town with her husband. But Anne lived close to me. Now, I was in the house one day. When Anne just showed up out of nowhere, I was in the house with Fred. And she was like, oh, I was passing by. And she has never done that before, mind you. And she was like, oh, I was passing by and I just wanted to check up on you. She saw that I was with my man, but she was just there. I don't even know what she came to do. She was just talking. It didn't make sense. And then plus the incident on the beach, I was now like, no, something is definitely going on. Because we are friends. You've come to my house before. You've never showed up unannounced. All of a sudden, you are there and you just came to check up on me. Like it didn't make sense to me. And then I also noticed that Fred was also acting weird. He was acting suspicious. I didn't want to say anything, but my mood changed. And I think Anne noticed it, and so she left. Later that day, I did something I had not done before. When I started dating Fred, I just decided to trust him. The fact that Obed, my ex, hates me doesn't mean that Fred was going to hate me. And so I don't go through his phone. I trusted him. He had never done anything for me to not to trust him. But after seeing the way he acted when Anne was around, I started getting suspicious. And so that day, I went through his phone. I took his phone and dialed Anne's number, and immediately a name popped up. They didn't know themselves. Why was Anne's number saved in his phone? I went to WhatsApp and I realized that they had been chatting. Anne had been chatting Fred. He was sleeping beside me and I immediately called him. I was like, what is this? Why are you chatting my friend? When did you take her number? I was crazy. I was going crazy. And he was like, relax. I can explain. Read our messages. Do you see anything wrong with our messages? I was like, no, what is going on? Why are you chatting her? You don't know her. You met her on the beach during my birthday. Why are you chatting her? Then Fred was like, we went to the same school together. I was like, what do you mean? He said that the day he saw her on the beach, she looked familiar, like someone he went to primary school with, but he wasn't sure. Later, he received a message from her on TikTok, and so apparently she also thought he looked familiar. And I was like, why didn't you tell me? You recognize my friend as your old-time friend. Why couldn't you tell me? And you texted her behind my back, and she also didn't tell me. And then he was like, I didn't want to tell you because of your past. I didn't want it to look suspicious. And Anne also knew about my past. They both decided not to tell me anything because of my past. Can you believe that? I was like, no. It doesn't make sense to me. If you hide something like this from me and I find out, I'm not going to trust you. It is going to hurt me. What do you mean because of my past? You're keeping this from me. He was like, read the messages. After that, we've never spoken again. She just wanted to be sure it was me, and that was all. And it is true, the messages didn't show anything. But what if they were talking on the phone? What if they were still hiding something from me? So I broke up with Fred. I was like, I cannot go through this anymore. I confronted Anne and she told me the same thing. Nothing is going on between us. She was like, I knew you were going to behave this way. That is why I didn't tell you. Nothing is going on. I just knew him from the past and I just wanted to be sure. Nothing is going on. Fred came to beg me and I finally forgave him. I made him promise never to keep a secret like this from me again. And he was like, it is my fault. I'll never do that to you again. At this point, I think we had dated for 1.5 years. After the argument, he came to see me. He said he wanted to marry me. He wanted to prove to me that he was committed to me for the long term. And so his family came to see my people. They took the list and we started planning for our wedding. Now, mind you, after everything that happened, I was not cool with Anne. And I still didn't believe her. In a way, I still didn't believe Fred. I told Sarah everything and she was like, oh, the fact that a friend of yours slept with your boyfriend doesn't mean it will happen again. You are overthinking this. She was like, I don't know Anne like that, but since I met her, she's cool. She's not the kind of girl who will do that to you. Calm down. You've forgiven Fred. Move on. Now, the wedding date was drawing closer and I had to choose my bridesmaids. I made Sarah my maid of honor. And then, against my better judgments, I chose Anne as one of my bridesmaids. In a way, I wanted to rub it in her face that I'm marrying him. It's not marrying you. Whether the two of you did something in the past or not is mine now. But I still didn't trust her. I booked an hotel room for Sarah because she's from another town. Like I said, after she got married, she moved to another town with her husband. And then I booked one room for my other bridesmaids. But for some reason, Anne wanted to pay for her own hotel room. She said she wanted to get dressed on her own. Like she wanted a room to herself. It was suspicious, but I was like, it is not my money, it is your money. Go ahead. Now, the morning of the wedding, I had an argument with Fred. I was calling him to ask him for something, and he didn't pick up, and I had to call and call again. So I was in a very bad mood. Also, my makeup artist didn't really do my makeup the way I wanted. And so, like, the pressure was high. A lot was going on. Sarah was with me, telling me to calm down. I had gotten married before, so she was like, that is how weddings are. Calm down, calm down. And then after getting dressed and everything, I went out to take something. That is when I saw Anne standing outside with Fred. They were talking, and they were standing too close for my liking. What were they talking about? They told me that after that conversation on the phone, they had nothing going on. Fine, you went to school together, but that was it. They had nothing else going on. So what were they talking about? And the way they were talking, they were standing too close, like they were talking intimately. I don't know how to explain it. What were they talking about? And mind you, I was already pissed off with Fred for not picking my calls. And so throughout the pictures and everything, I couldn't smile. A lot was going on through my head. On our way to the church, I looked at him and I was like, what were you talking about with Anne? And it was like, here you go again. If you know you don't trust me, why are you marrying me? She just asked me something. I've even forgotten what she asked me. It is nothing important. Do you have to suspect me every time? We almost started arguing in the car. He said he had had enough of my trust issues. There was nothing going on between him and Anne. That she was just asking him something. I almost cried in the car and I had to control myself. What could I do at that moment? We were on our way to the church to get married. It was the man I chose. And this man is a good man. He treats me well. Like, he checks all my points. Everything was good. Apart from the suspicions I had about them, he had never done anything to prove to me, or he had never cheated on me or done anything that would make me believe he was cheating. And so I decided to control myself and try to be happy. It was my special day, and I was marrying the man I love. Before we would get into the church, he hugged me, told me he was sorry and that he loved me and that he wanted me to be happy. It was our special day. He kissed me, told me we were in this together forever. Like, he made me feel good. And we entered into the church, exchanged vows, and everything was great. And I was happy. I had even forgotten about everything. The arguments we had in the morning, seeing him with Anne talking, the arguments in the car to the church. I was happy. I was dancing. Then I looked at Anne. Then I realized that Anne was looking at my man again, and the way she was looking at him rubbed me the wrong way. Like, I was trying to be happy, I was trying to trust him, but why are you looking at him like this? He's a married man now. Like, why are you looking at him? Sarah noticed that was not okay, and she pulled me to the bathroom, and she was like, if I can see you are not okay, Fred can see you are not okay, other people will notice you are not okay. It is your big day. You need to smile. Stop overthinking. Fred loves you. He has married you. You have to trust him. You have to let go of all this. She spoke to me to calm down, clear my mind, and reset. And I went back and I tried to enjoy the day as much as I could. Now, I was supposed to stay in the hotel for another week with Fred. Honeymoon, just the two of us. Then I heard from one of the girls that Anne was also going to sleep overnight and leave the next day. Once I know that if she picks an Uber or something, she can get to her house within 30 minutes. Why are you staying in the hotel with us? It didn't make sense. Sarah told me that maybe after paying for the whole day, she wanted to, get the most out of it before she leaves. But it was too suspicious. In the same hotel I was going to stay with Fred. Like, what is going on? Sarah was like, calm down, you think too much. I was like, you're making me feel crazy. Does this make sense to you? The red flags were too much for me to ignore. But I didn't say anything. I didn't confront Anne. I was like, fine, let me concentrate on my marriage and my man. Now, Sarah will also be sleeping and leaving the next day because it was late, and where she was going to was quite far. Fred came into our room. We did a do. We were happy. We were lying on the bed, just talking, when he received the call. When he received the call, he stood up and went to stand in the corner and received the call. When he came back, I realized there was something off, but I didn't say anything. He was acting strangely. It was like we were talking, but his mind was far away. We took our baths, getting ready to sleep, when he was like, I need to go back home and take something fast. I left a document, I have to do da-da-da-da. I was like, what is going on? We just got married. Why are you talking about work? And what document are you talking about? How important is that document? It was like, oh, my boss needs the document. I have to go for the document. It is very, very important. It was our wedding night. We were together. And I knew him. I knew he had a passion for his job. But why are you leaving me on our wedding night to go for a document for your boss? Your boss came to the wedding. He knows you are married and he knows we are staying at the hotel. Why are you going back home? I was really sulking. I was not okay and he could see. He was like, babe, wait for me. I'm coming. I promise it would not take more than 30 minutes. Then he left. I was lying down trying to sleep, but I couldn't sleep, knowing that Anne is in another room in the hotel and Fred had just left like that. Something more was going on. I called Sarah because she was the one who always calmed me down, but she didn't pick up. And mind you, this was around 1:30 day. I tried to sleep, but I couldn't sleep. Fred kept saying that there was nothing going on between him and Anne. But I was like, I need to be sure. I need to be sure. If not, I'll keep thinking this way forever and ever. Anne is my friend. She's in my life. Fred is in my life. I needed to clear my mind. I was like, I need to get to the bottom of this. That is the only way I'm going to feel okay. I left my hotel room and walked straight to Anne's room. And before I knocked on the door, I put my ear against the door, listening, and I could hear her in the room with someone. I was like, okay, I knew it. I could hear a man's voice in the room. They were laughing about something. I was like, yes, I was right. I've caught them red-handed. I started banging on the door. And then she came to open the door. And when she opened the door, she had a towel wrapped around her. And I was like, Fred is here, right? I entered into the room forcefully. Fred. I started shouting. And she was like, what is wrong with you? What has gotten into you? Fred, why would Fred be in my room? I was like, no, I know Fred is here. I went into the bedroom. I didn't see anyone, but I heard her talking to someone. And so I knew someone was there. That was when I heard sound in the bathroom. And I rushed into the bathroom. When I entered into the bathroom, it was not Fred. It was another man, and he was naked. It was not Fred. She was with a man, but I don't know whether the man was a man or not, but it was not Fred. And when I saw the man, I didn't know how to act. I felt so ashamed. I started stammering. I was like, Anne, I'm sorry. I thought, and she was like, get out. What is wrong with you? What do you take me for? Why would I ever sleep with your man? Get out. I don't want to see your face. What kind of disrespect is this? Like, she was very angry. And she had every right to be, because my insecurities had led me to this. I felt so ashamed of myself. I knew Sarah was sleeping, but I needed someone to talk to. And so I went to knock on her door. I knocked the first time, there was no response. The second time, there was no response. And then the third time, I heard her voice. Who is that? And I was like, oh, it is me. And she was like, oh, I'm tired. I need to sleep. Let's talk tomorrow. I was like, something happened and I really need to talk to someone. And she was like, I know, but I'm really, really tired. Please, let's talk tomorrow. I was like, okay, no problem. And then I left. But I couldn't sleep. I tried. I couldn't sleep. And so I went to the balcony of the hotel. I wanted to call Fred, but I decided not to. On the balcony, I started crying. Because of what I went through in the past, it affected me so much that it was leaking into my current relationship. And I knew I had to get a hold of myself. I needed to get over it. If not, I will never be happy. So on the balcony, I was just talking to myself. Get a hold of yourself. Get a grape. Get a grape. Get a grape. You've met a wonderful man. You are finally happy. Don't let your past ruin this. I was there for about 10 minutes and I was like, I'm going back. I'm going back to my room and sleep. Now, going back to my room, I had to pass in front of Anne and Sarah's room. A few steps before I would get to where Sarah's room was, a door opened. And guess who stepped out of her room? Guess who? Fred. Fred stepped out of Sarah's room. I was like, what is going on? What is Fred doing in Sarah's room? And so, I don't know, I just rushed, opened the door widely, and then I saw Sarah naked, like she was not wearing anything, standing in the room. When Fred saw me, I guess they were not expecting to see me. You should have seen his face when he saw me. I was like, Sarah, you of all people. And even at this point, if I had not seen Sarah naked in the room, I think I would have believed anything they would have told me. Because mind you, I was suspecting Anne. I went to see Anne. Anne was in the room with another man. And so I would have told myself that you are overthinking. You're overthinking again. Sarah will never do this to you, so you're overthinking again. But she was naked. So try to explain this to me. Try to explain it. Fred started stammering. It is not what you think. I was like, what do you mean? She's naked and you are there. What do you mean? Sarah was like, please calm down. We can explain. I was like, hell no. Sarah, you of all people, and Fred, how long has this been going on? What is going on? You are married. You have a husband and you have a child. And Fred is a friend of your man. What is happening? I wanted to leave immediately, but Fred went to close the door. He was like, please, please calm down, listen to us. It was just a mistake. I was drunk, she was drunk. It was a mistake. We didn't mean for this to happen. According to Fred, after he went to take his documents, because of the way I was talking to him and my trust issues, he went to the bar, he got drunk, and then he saw Sarah. But then mind you, I've gone to Sarah's place earlier, and she told me she was sleeping. And according to Sarah, when I came to wake her up, she couldn't sleep anymore. And so she also went to the bar. And then the story was a lot. Of course, I didn't believe them. And so she went to the bar and she went to also drink. And the both of them were drunk. And then Sarah was telling me that she was going through a lot with her husband. There was conflict. And Fred was also going through a lot with me. And so they started talking. Before they knew it, one thing led to another, and they were in the room. It was a mistake. They were both begging me to forgive them. Imagine, on my wedding day, I just married this man for less than 1 day, and he was already sleeping with my friend, and they said it was a mistake. Sarah was like, I'm sorry, you know I love you, I'll never do this to you. It was a mistake. We don't know what came over us. It was a mistake, it was a mistake, it was a mistake. Fred came to see me and immediately started crying. He knelt before me, begging me, telling me to forgive him. I told him to get out because I didn't want to see him. I didn't know what to do to myself. Sarah started calling me, begging me to speak to her, begging me to forgive her. I blocked their number. Later, Fred told me I'd booked another hotel room to give me space, and that if I needed to talk, he was close by. That whole week, I just stayed in the room crying, just crying. But then, I was like, you just got married. You just got married. What are you going to tell people? Are you going to tell people you are leaving your husband just a day after you got married? Are you just going to give up on your marriage? What was I going to do? I didn't know what to do. I still loved Fred, and I know I was weak, but I still loved him. In a way, I still wanted things to work. And I was also telling myself that Obed, my first guy, did this to me. Fred had done this to me. What if all men were the same? It means that even if I leave him, the next man is going to do the same thing to me. So why don't I just stay with him? And mind you, every single day, Fred will come to my hotel room and knock on the door, asking to talk, but I will not see him. And so when he came, I think, on the 6th day, I opened the door for him. He came to apologize. He was still crying, telling me he wants to make things work with me. I was the one he loved. He was talking, begging me. In my mind, I had already decided to give him a chance because I don't know, I was weak. I still loved him and I wanted to still give us a chance. Now, this is my issue, this is my problem and my question. I want to tell Sarah's husband what she did. She was the last person I was expecting to ever hurt me. She was my best friend and she hurt me in the worst possible way. I want to tell her husband what she did. Sarah had called me with different numbers, begging me not to tell her husband. She said that since I had forgiven Fred and I had decided to stay with him, I should forgive her too. But I think her husband deserves to know. And I also want to hurt her like the way she hurts me. And so my question is, should I tell her husband what she did with Fred? Now, I want to hear your thoughts down below. Should she tell Sarah's husband what Sarah did with Fred? Let me know down below. Now, this is what I told her. I told her not to tell Sarah's husband what she did. Sarah and Fred did the do together. You chose to forgive Fred. You chose to stay with him. You have to give the same forgiveness to Sarah. They did the act together. How can you forgive one person and ruin the other person's life? At the end of the day, it is her life and it is her choice. But if you are forgiving one person, then forgive them both. You went back to him after he cheated on you. Fine, you can choose to cut Sarah out. You can choose not to talk to her anymore. But why would you punish her and let the other person go scot-free? You either punish both of them or forgive both of them. That was my advice for her. But I want to hear from you too. Leave your thoughts down below. Should she tell Sarah's husband or not? She's also going to be in the comment sections reading them. Also, personally, I believe that if a man can hurt you like this on your wedding day of all days, if you can sleep with your friend, it's not a man to be trusted. It's not the kind of man you should want to spend the rest of your life with. But at the end of the day, we all make our choices and our decisions. And so, yeah, we've come to the end of the story. Like always, this is a judgment-free zone. We listen, we don't judge. We don't what? Judge. So please be kind to her in the comment sections. No judgment. Just leave your thoughts down below. And I hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you so much for watching. See you next time. Okay, I'm done. Bye.